Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here to give you guys my review of Lucha Underground, Season 1, Episode 29, and this episode is called Fight to the Death. This episode came out on March 21st. Well, no, sorry. This episode was taped on March 21st, 2015, and it aired on May 27th, 2015. And this episode started us off with the Black Lotus arrive into the arena, and I guess she was going to go take care of Dario Cueto's brother. But Chavo Guerrero Jr. stops her and pretty much says that he's here to protect her, but she says she doesn't need protection. And Chavo Guerrero Jr. says, I know you don't need protection, but me and the Guerrero and Cueto's family, the Cueto's family have hated each other for years. And he also mentioned that his grandfather was there when her parents were murdered. Chavo Guerrero Jr. says not to handle things outside the ring, but to handle things in the ring. So it's probably leading to a match between Dario Cueto's brother and the Black Lotus. I don't know where this is. I'm assuming the Black Lotus will win that match, but obviously we'll have to wait and see. And then we had the first match on the show. It was, and I forgot to mention, Matt Striker and Vampiro were doing commentary for this show. The first match was Aerostar versus Johnny Mundo. And this match was a pretty good match. Aerostar hit a really cool Hurricanrana, a really cool trust fall on the outside. But Johnny Mundo was pretty much the star of this match. He really dominated Aerostar by just beating the crap out of him. He hit the springboard spin kick, and he went for the end of the world for the first time, but Aerostar moved out of the way, and then Johnny Mundo hit a wicked clothesline, a really cool backbreaker into like another backbreaker, and then eventually he hit the end of the world for the win. And Johnny Mundo, I thought, looked really strong in this match, which I think was the purpose of this match, but Aerostar looked pretty good in this match as well. And I thought this match was pretty good, so I'm going to give it 3.25 stars. And then Vampiro interviews Sexy Star, and he asks her first about Pentagon Jr., and she talks about how, he asks her if she regrets getting involved in Pentagon Jr.'s business, and she's like, well, would you ask that question to a male superstar? And she says that Pentagon Jr. has been a huge bully on Lucha Underground, and that needs to stop. She talks about her friendship with Superfly and how they used to be great friends, but she really hasn't heard much from him since the Mask versus Mask match. But he's recovering from his injuries with Pentagon Jr., and she said that she felt like she could outlast Pentagon Jr. after defeating him a few episodes ago. And we also find out that on the next episode they're going to have a submission match, and she said that she's going to make Pentagon Jr. tap out and finally achieve her goals and become a top star in Lucha Underground. So I like this promo here. It was good. And it made me excited for the submission match on the next episode. Then we had the Lucha Underground Championship match. Lucha Underground champion Prince Puma with Konnan ringside versus Hernandez. And I thought this match was a really good match. Prince Puma gets the advantage throughout the beginning portions of this matchup, hitting a Hurricanrana, and then he hit a drop kick through the ropes. Then he ended up hitting a flip dive through the ropes as well. But Hernandez gets the upper hand in the match. He really uses his power to take out Prince Puma by hitting the pounce. And he beats the crap out of Prince Puma throughout much of the matchup, the beginning portions of the matchup. And every time Prince Puma tried to mount any sort of offense, Hernandez would cut him down. He ended up hitting a really cool senton in this match. But Prince Puma kicked out of it, and then he throws Prince Puma to the outside, and then Konnan gets up on the apron and mouths off at Hernandez, and the referee, while he's distracted by Konnan, Hernandez goes for his shoulder, for his big dive on the outside, but Prince Puma while the referee's distracted, hits Hernandez off the skull with a steel chair. And then Prince Puma hits a backflip somersault dive on the outside, and he ends up throwing Hernandez in the win. He gets a springboard 450, but Hernandez kicks out. He goes for the 630. Hernandez moves out of the way and hits a powerbomb like facebuster onto Prince Puma. Prince Puma kicks out, and then the match starts to go back and forth. Prince Puma hits two super kicks and then a thrust kick to the back of the head of Hernandez, but Hernandez kicks out of that. Hernandez hits a running power slam. Prince Puma kicks out, and then he goes for a second front face power bomb, but Prince Puma tries to win with the roll up, but Hernandez was too close to the ropes. Prince Puma, and then Hernandez goes for a splash. Prince Puma moves out of the way. He goes for his 630 again, but Hernandez gets up on the apron and tries to superplex him off the turnbuckles, but Prince Puma fights him off and hits two kicks to the head, and then the 630 for the win, and Prince Puma retains the Lucha Underground Championship. But I thought this was a really good match here, and I really liked it. So Prince Puma retains, and I really like this match, 3.5 stars. I think Prince Puma's been a really good Lucha Underground champion. Now, I'm just going to talk about this now because I know this was a few years ago now. I believe this is going to be Hernandez's last show because I know he doesn't last very long in Lucha Underground. I remember, I think it was, actually it wasn't around this time, actually. I actually might be wrong here. I know there's going to be a portion, but it might be around this time where Hernandez is going to be written off because I know he went back to TNA, and TNA didn't know he was signed to Lucha Underground, so it led to a whole debacle. So I know he was released from TNA, but I think they might have released him for Lucha Underground as well. But don't quote me on that. But I think that's what happened. I mean, I really don't know. I could always look it up, but it really doesn't say. So I'll have to look that up later on. Maybe I'll tell you when it happens. But I think this is going to be Hernandez's last episode. And then we had the main event. It was a death match. Phoenix versus Mil Muertes with Katrina. And he came out with like these 3 disciples. And they were all wearing the same luchador mask, but they were like symbols of death. So I like to call them disciples. And I'm assuming, I don't know if the disciples are going to wrestle. If they are, I would put the Lucha Underground Trios Championships on them as soon as possible. But let's talk about the match. This match was great. I think the Grave Consequences matches might have been a little bit better, but this was still a great match. Phoenix tries to hit it. I probably would have booked the matchup a little bit differently, though. It was still a great match. But I would have had Mil Muertes absolutely destroy Phoenix and never get knocked off his feet. Really show that, that he's really back and really refined. But that's just me. I still like the match and stuff. I'm not really going to complain, but I just would have booked it a little bit differently. But Phoenix tries to hit a suicide dive right on the outside, but it pretty much has no effect on Mil Muertes. Mil Muertes destroys Phoenix in the beginning portions of the matchup. He hits a wicked body slam on him, and he pretty much just manhandles Phoenix. He hits a really cool sit-out choke slam on him, which was awesome. But then eventually Phoenix starts to mount a comeback. He hits a moonsault on the outside, springboard moonsault on the outside, and then eventually Mil Muertes, though, is able to cut off Phoenix again. He hits him off the skull with a steel chair and beats the crap out of him with the steel chair, and then he throws him again and again into the guardrail, but then Phoenix starts to fight back. He throws Mil Muertes into the guardrail, and this knocks Mil Muertes off his feet. I think he does it again and again, and he hits a double stomp from the guardrail right onto Mil Muertes, and Phoenix goes for the win, but Mil Muertes kicks out, and then Mil Muertes really snaps and bounces Phoenix's head off the announcer's table, and he takes him up to the top of the temple, and he power bombs him through the top of the temple, which I thought was awesome. I didn't think he was going to hit this move, and when he did, I was like, oh shit. And then we had the referees tried to open the door because it's locked, and they had to even take a commercial break, which shows how significant this move was, because they never really take a commercial break for Lucha Underground matches. So I thought that was really cool. But then the Disciples of Apocalypse, oh sorry, those three disciples kick down the door and throw Phoenix back into the ring. Mil Muertes hits the I forget the I forget the name of the move, but the pay dirt on him for the win. And afterwards, he has Katrina come in and gives Phoenix the lick of death, and that was it. This was a new redefined Mil Muertes. I loved it. I thought it was a great return for him, and it was awesome. This match was great. I'll give it 4 stars, and I really enjoyed it. Then we had the end of the show. Pretty much Dario Cueto tells them that they really disappointed him in the Lucha Underground Trios Championship ladder match. So someone's got to pay the consequences. So the crew has to pick a member to face the wrath of his brother. And Cortez and Mr. Cisco hold down Bale right across the balls of the cage. And I guess Dario's Cueto's brother murdered him because his fate, we don't really see what happens to him, but we see that he gets beaten the shit out of, and we see that he passed away. And then he tells the Cortez and Mr. Cisco not to disappoint him again, and they say yes, sir. But they were like smeared with blood afterwards. So I guess we have to assume that Bale had died. He was murdered by Dario Cueto's brother. And I still love, and even though the storyline you could say was over the top, I loved it. I thought it was great, because you had to have to suspend your disbelief a little bit when it comes to, I think, Lucha Underground, because this is supposed to be structured like a TV series, so they're gonna probably do storylines like this. But I think the storyline's done greatly. Now you could say that maybe he wasn't murdered because he could have just been beaten the shit out of so bad that he just was bleeding and got knocked out. So, but I actually can't wait to see the reveal of Dario Cueto's brother. Now I'm assuming what's going to happen is the Black Louders will be the one that defeats him somehow. But I actually would like, they're promoting this guy as such a beast. He should come out and destroy everybody. But we have to wait and see who this guy is. But overall, that was this episode of Lucha Underground. I thought this was a great episode. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I'll give it a B. Actually, I'll give it a B. It wasn't quite a B plus episode. I'll give it a B. I'll give it a like a 7 out of 10. That was great. But yeah, that's pretty much my review of Lucha Underground. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please make sure you guys like, comment, and share this video so people will watch it. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel for more content, and click on the bell so that way every time I upload a video, you guys will get the notifications for it. Make sure you guys do the same thing for my CM Brothers or No One the Talkinator YouTube channels. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.